Alright, well, welcome back to another Whirlwind of Weezer. This time we're moving from 2008 to 2009 with Raditude. Starting out with the final producer of the Red album, with Jackknife Lee from at I don't know where. I left a blank there. But from November 2008 until January 2009, and they laid down takes of Tripping Down the Freeway, The Prettiest Girl in the Whole Wide World, In the Mall, Get Me Some, Love Is the Answer, The Underdogs, Run Over by a Truck, and I Don't Want to Let You Go. All very good cuts. All of which made the album in some capacity, at least. Just some delegated to like the deluxe edition, but whatever. Same type of deal that happened with Red album. But why couldn't they have done that with like Make Believe? Give us Make Believe deluxe edition with like a bunch of those fallen soldiers there that we still don't really have. Like we have some like the demos of some of them, but there's other songs that are allegedly part of those fallen soldiers that we haven't gotten to hear yet. So come on, get to releasing them. We need like a Death to False Metal Part 2, preferably with another fun name to say, but I don't want to say Death to False Metal Part 2. Alright, so moving up, Jackknife Lee puts together an early album 7 mix. So clearly they haven't talked to Rainn Wilson yet and haven't gotten that name. But on this early album 7 mix, there is Let It All Hang Out, I'm Your Daddy, Get Me Some, Run Over by a Truck, In the Mall, Love Is the Answer, Can't Stop Partying, The Prettiest Girl, Tripping Down the Freeway, I Don't Want to Let You Go, The Underdogs, and a Can't Stop Partying instrumental. Pretty decent sequence there. Love Is the Answer doesn't have the Hindi business going on in it yet, which I like, but I appreciate the backing track of the song way more than the flourish that was added to it by Jackknife Lee. Like, it's cool. It's very cool, but interesting that they stuck with that choice. Like, even when the Beatles did that, like, John Lennon kind of backtracked and was like, maybe let's... I mean, they released it, but barely. And then went back and redid it without all the extra singers and without the chanting and Hindiness going on. But oh well. Well, and the Can't Stop Partying is the exact same as we got, just without the Lil Wayne god awful verses there. And like back then, I was kind of into Lil Wayne still back then, but maybe a little bit now. I mean, if I'm really high, but yeah, this Can't Stop Partying. Well, to me, the AOL Sessions version with Chameleonaire is the better version, but Rivers' demo version is the best version, though, with no one rapping. Just why I like this version with no one rapping. Not that I got anything against rap, but just particularly Lil Wayne's verse is just such garbage that it's like, why? It makes me It's a song that I typically skip unless I'm listening to it on an actual disc, in which case you try to limit how much you skip. Discs are pretty awful storage medium. Alright, so I'm sorry, I don't have a whole lot of dates in this one. This is just like a frenetic period. I wouldn't be like, I don't think there's much overlap, but it was a pretty short period of time. This album released between October 28th and November 3rd, 2009, depending on where you lived. And like, we're starting out here from November 2008 to January 2009, Jackknife Lee, and then somewhere after that in the ensuing months, I think around March probably, like Jackknife Lee's early mix comes out. And then we get Dr. Luke in to redo I'm Your Daddy and to redo Get Me Some. Is it redoing? Did they re-record it? Or did they just add on to it? I don't know. I don't really know if it was additional production. It doesn't say Jackknife Lee. So it was probably just new takes altogether, new style there. I'm gonna compare. I have the power, but I'll have to do that later, and I'll have to amend this and like delete this section out of it or whatever. But yeah, so they worked on I'm Your Daddy and Get Me Some, and those are the final versions of those two songs right there. And then they get in with Paul Pon, who doesn't really do a whole lot to the already existent beat of Can't Stop Partying, but he gets Lil Wayne in there, who never met any members of Weezer, certainly never met Rivers. And he drops his garbage verse. It's just shameful. And they got their hit single or whatever, but it wasn't really a hit. Like, I think this certainly doesn't outdo Red, even if it's got some serious quality. Like, well, Red was bogged down by, like, just not really always vibing with me in certain cases, particularly with, like, the songs Jackknife Lee produced for it. And this, his turnout, ends up being the better songs on the album. Oh, I do like, I guess, what Dr. Luke put on there, because I do like Get Me Some. I'm Your Daddy's a little weird. I liked it more when the album was released than I do now. Just like, I appreciated Can't Stop Partying more, and now I just never even listen to the album version. It's always like the Rivers demo from one of the Alones. I think it's the second, probably. Maybe I think it's the second one. And then we get the third producer, well, I guess fourth producer on here, third extra, aside from the main one of Jackknife Lee, who was originally going to be handling the whole album. Obviously, that's why they did an early mix and then decided to rework some other stuff. So Butch Walker comes in, and this is summer 2009, to do The Girl Got Hot. If you're wondering if I want you to, I Want You To, which was the banging single off this. That's for sure. The song's annoying as hell. It's one of the ones that gets stuck in your head, but you don't want it in your head. Like California Snow gets stuck in my head, and I'm like, hey, yeah, cool. And then, like, I'm gonna get me some. Like, Get Me Some gets stuck in your head, and it's cool, but not I Want You To. But it certainly put the album, like, it made everyone know that Weezer had a new album out. Because you couldn't flip to any, like, so-called alternative radio station and not hear this song back in 2009. Thankfully, that wasn't a bad thing, because I enjoyed it. I had far more tolerance for the song back then than I do now. I think that's warranted. And he also had, like, Let It All Hang Out and Put Me Back Together. Put Me Back Together. Such a good song. Like, all these are good songs. The Girl Got Hot is a little weak, but whatever. It's fun. It's fun enough. Alright. And then, so that's it. The album was released. And with those four different, very eclectic range of producers there. And in a variety of studios, but I couldn't really tell you who did what where. But they worked at The Village in LA, Sound City Studios in Van Nuys. It's probably where Jackknife Lee was, honestly. The Document Room in Malibu. Zeitgeist Studio, LA. Okay. And that's it for Raditude. So I'm going to jump right into the next thing. We're going to move now, bridging the gap from 2009 to 2010 on this whirlwind of Weezer, where we get Sean Everett. to come in, and he engineered Raditude. So he was there for like the entirety of Raditude. So I guess that's why Weezer was like, hey, we got like these songs that we were working on during these past 2 sessions, you know, from Red and Rad. And yeah, Make Believe as well. All these fallen soldiers here. And we need another album for Geffen. Actually, no, they don't need another album for Geffen because they split with them. The label they had been with since the Blue Days split with them after the release of Raditude. Now they got plans for 2 albums. Hurley, of all new, so-called all new material, and Death to False Metal, and really doesn't make much difference. They're both new albums of new material. New in the sense that they hadn't been properly released to the world. I guess with just Death to False Metal leaning towards the side of songs that we, as Weezer fans, you know, had heard at least snippets of or have known of the existence of in general. Because mainly through the make-believe sessions, as well as like some stuff that even didn't end up making it on Red, or as the Red B-sides and deluxe edition, whatever's, and didn't make it for Rad. What didn't make it to Rad? Like all this stuff really made it, but yeah, just older stuff. But ultimately, yeah, they just worked with the Death to False Metal project with Sean Everett. That's from engineer to producer. Huh. Apparently he put down, he recorded the guitars and drums during Rad for Tripping Down the Freeway, Love Is the Answer, and In the Mall. So he gets partial producing credit for those bad boys, as well as the wonderful tracks such as Everyone, Trampoline, Turning Up the Radio from Death to False Metal, and then from Hurley, Memories, Ruling Me, Trainwrecks, Unspoken, Where's My Sex, Runaway, Hang On, Smart Girls, Brave New World, and Time Flies. So clearly he oversaw the project and like generally mixed and mastered the final configuration of Death to False Metal. But ultimately, not all of those songs on there were produced by him. He only produced Everyone, Trampoline, and Turning Up the Radio. Rick Rubin produced... Ah, man, I just had this. Rick Rubin produced... Where'd that go? Oh, it's this one. Oh, great. I don't really have it on here. Oh, if you... man, where'd I put that stuff? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Dirt. I mean, I know this from the Make Believe sessions, where he has, like, I'm a Robot. He gets credit for that. He produced Yellow Camaro, which is a Brian Bell song. What else did we get? Turn Me Round. What? Yeah, that ended up on something. I guess that was that a Red bonus track or something? Or was that Rad? Because that's a Rubin song. Or gets Rubin credit. Oh, Blowin' My Stack. How could I forget that one? Yeah, Blowin' My Stack. And, I guess that's it. I mean, I really should have had the track list pulled up from this one, but... Oh, well. What song did my brain is working overtime morph into, man? I'm Losing My Mind. Yeah, he gets credit for that one. And, oh, man. Where's the other guy? Where's the other guy? There's someone else who got some credit there. Was it Jackknife? Is it Jackknife? Did he get some other stuff? No, not really. Yeah, it's kind of just got a hodgepodge of a album, and then yeah, so like Hurley released on September 10th, 2010, and Death to False Metal, I'm pretty sure, released on like the same day. And there were a couple of Rivers produced songs attached to like the deluxe edition of Hurley, along with their like live renditions and like that was a Coldplay cover. Rivers produced I Want to Be Something, and the first, well, he also produced the first mix, but the second rocked out mix of Represent, which he had originally written as like the U.S. men's soccer team anthem. It was an unofficial anthem to go aside with Shakira's sanctioned Waka Waka. So with those two albums released, there was a couple other stuff that Sean Everett was doing with the band around 2010. He was working on the final mixing for Long Time Sunshine, Getting Up and Leaving, and Tragic Girl to be released on the deluxe edition of Pinkerton. In 2011, you know, in their touring hiatus, if you will, they did record Like a Good Neighbor and Radiohead cover or Paranoid Android, and then he did some additional production on Everything Will Be Alright in the End, a Rick Ocasek produced album there in 2014, released in 2015. He handled the engineering on that, and then he produced a single following the release of Everything Will Be Alright in the End entitled Everybody Needs Salvation, and on that will be the last one I record for tonight. I realize there are a little bit of gaps in this one. I'm sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in next time for more Whirlwind Weezer.